questions will be of listening. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then after that, which section do you have after that?
After that comes the speaking section. First task is of random. You will be given two choices, and you have to like give the response in 60 seconds and answer the question. Second one is integrated speaking. Third one is also integrated speaking, and last one is while based on the lecture of the professor, we have to summarize all the points.
Mm-hmm. Okay, then.
Yeah, and these three tasks are of 45 seconds each.
Okay.
If, yeah. And the last one is writing section. First one is integrated academic discussion task, which we have completed right now. And second one will be the both integrated writing, in which we will be given a reading comprehension. And um, secondly, on the second part, like we'll get to hear a professor explaining that or explaining or negating that points which were given in reading paragraphs.
Very good. So you
And
remember how the exam was, correct? So
yes,
basically, you have four skills. You start with reading, you move to listening, then you have speaking, then you have writing. Okay.
yeah,
We will look at question types. Don't worry about that. But you explained it well. Only the timing part you will need to keep in mind. Okay.
sure,
Yeah, you
sure.
need to remember. Overall, for reading, you get 35 minutes. Okay, and you get two
Oh,
passages, and you get 10 questions per passage. Overall, you have 20 questions. Okay, and along with that, points that you get are 1 point for each question. Only for last question you get 2 points. So overall you get 22 points in reading. Those 22 points are converted to the scale of 30. Okay. Now, along with that, during the reading section, if you are in that reading passage, you can do back and forth. But once you move to the second passage, you can't do back and forth in the questions. Okay, that is what you need to
oh,
remember. Now,
okay,
your academic passages, which will be there, basically your reading passages will be there, which will be there. It will be a proper university level textbook passages. Okay, it will be excerpts from some of the passages which have been picked up from some textbooks. Say. The topics could vary, the disciplines could vary. We have already looked at disciplines, but we'll look at them in depth in listening section especially. Now, the topics will of course be domain specific, but the things which will be discussed in those passages will be very generic. Okay, of course you will need to have some kind of general knowledge to understand these passages, but you don't need to have any kind of expertise over that topic. Say if you're learning about, if you're reading a passage from a psychology textbook, if you're learning about sleeping pattern over there, the stages of sleep, whatever is mentioned in the passage, based on that questions will be asked to you. Okay, nothing, nowhere it will be asked for your general knowledge. Okay, no question will be asked to understand your knowledge about the topic or your general knowledge. They just want you to have good level of English. Okay, so they are testing your English proficiency. They are not testing your GK, they are not testing your aptitude also, they're not testing your intelligence also. Okay, that is the reason TOEFL test is
okay,
little easier, I would say. Now, when I say this, you also need to keep in mind, if you know about the topic, it becomes helpful for you, because the words that you will come across, हाँ at least थोड़ा तो पता है. Yeah, you don't need to know in depth, I would say. But that's where our practice work comes into the picture. Okay, don't worry about that. Along with that, I already told you there will be two reading passages. Okay, and 10 questions. Now, each question type we are going to discuss. Don't worry about that. You also remember what are integrated tasks, correct? Integrated tasks are nothing
yes, ma'am.
but wherever you are being tested for, say, one skill, but other skills are also integrated in that, but you are only being tested for the skill that you are attempting. Okay, for example, if you're giving speaking, in that you will read and listen also, but you will be only scored for speaking. वहाँ पर listening and speaking, listening and reading के scores hamper नहीं होंगे तुम्हारे. ठीक है, that is about a bit about integrated tasks. You already know it, so I'm not going very in depth over here.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, as I already said, The passages will be from college level textbooks, from books, or general academic interest textbooks or journals will be there. Okay, you need not be familiar with the subject material that you will come across, but you need to understand what is written over there. Now, one more thing that you need to understand over here is the questions that you will be asked, they will not be direct questions. They will be very, very indirect. The questions and the options will be paraphrased, so you will not find them in the passage directly. You will need to read it 2-3 times. Okay, जैसे हमारे स्कूल में या फिर कॉलेज में डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चंस आते थे वैसे नहीं आएंगे. ओके, एंड द ऑप्शंस विल मोस्टली लुक सिमिलर. Okay, so just don't go with the option because you feel that word has been mentioned in the passage, because of course that word will have been mentioned in the passage. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
that's where you need to look at the question and make sure you answer that question properly. Yeah, that's one more thing. That's where practice comes into picture, I would say. Now, your passages could be a narrative passage, it could be an exposition passage, or it could be an argumentation passage. Say they were providing some reasons and then they are leading to the conclusion, or they are giving some kind of an explanation to an idea, or they are describing some kind of a biographical topic or a historical topic. These are the various passages that you will come across. Okay, sometimes there might be some cause and effect, there might be a problem and the solutions to it, or sometimes they might just give some classification, or they might just compare and contrast few things. Okay, now we have three main types of questions. First is reading to find information, then second is basic comprehension, then we have reading to learn. Now we'll look at them one by one, and we will look at sub question types also that we have. Okay, now first one we have is the basic comprehension question, where they test your basic English proficiency. Okay, whether you are able to identify the main idea of the reading passage, whether you are able to understand the key facts and important information that has been presented, whether you are able to recognize the logical order or the sequence of the material which has been presented to you, whether you are able to identify the vocabulary which has been asked, whether you are able to identify the nouns and pronouns in the passage or in the text, and if you are able to understand the paraphrasing properly or not. Okay, these skills are being tested in these kind of questions. Now first question that we have is the factual information question. Now what do we mean by a fact?
Like it's universally truth, like it's universally acceptable
Exactly,
everywhere.
exactly. So they will be asking you about a fact which has been presented in the passage. Okay, ऐसी कोई चीज जो पैसेज में दी गई है. Yeah. Now here they will explicitly put forward the question. ये क्वेश्चन डायरेक्ट रहेगा, घुमा के नहीं पूछेंगे. ठीक है, बट ऑफ कोर्स वर्डिंग्स विल चेंज. व्हेन आई से डायरेक्ट, जैसे क्वेश्चन अपने स्कूल में आया करता था 9th 10th में, वैसा नहीं होगा. Okay, when I say direct, that means the information that you are trying to search for, it is presented directly in the passage. Okay, if you ask
Okay.
yourself that question, you will see the answer somewhere. So this will focus on facts, details, say some kind of definitions or some relevant information which has been presented by the author. Okay, they ask you to identify the specific information which is mentioned in the passage. Okay, they do not ask you some general themes that the passage as a whole has discussed. It will be little minor detail that they will be asking over here. Okay, the information which they are trying to put forward, only one answer will be correct over here and all the other options will be incorrect. Sometimes you will get two factual information questions in your one writing set. Sometimes you might get five also. Okay, so the number is not guaranteed, but आएंगे ही आएंगे, उतना तो पक्का है.
Okay.
Yeah. Now the question will always look like this. According to paragraph, which of the following is true? According to paragraph, we already know that over here in TOEFL test we get questions asked according to the paragraph numbers. So we don't need to read the whole paragraph again and again. But one thing that you need to remember, it's good to take 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes and read the passage before starting the questions. Okay, before you start attempting the questions, you should read the passage quickly. ज़्यादा टाइम नहीं लगाना है, because once we start attempting the questions, of course we will need to read the passage again. Okay, until the time you reach your last question, that is your pro summary question, you will have read the passage at least two times, sometimes even three times. But one thing that you need to
Okay.
understand, that of course the questions are asked according to the paragraph number. But one more thing that you can understand over here, or which you can, like, it's a small trick which you can remember, is that if you say you are being asked two questions from one paragraph, say paragraph number 2, you have been asked two questions, like the previous question also you attempted, which it was for paragraph number 2. Now you are attempting the question which is also for paragraph number 2. Now wherever the question number 2 ended, the previous question ended, uske aage hi you will find the next question ka answer. Okay, so you don't need to go behind, you will only look forward. ठीक है. So example, question number 2, which was for paragraph number 2, was asked for second line. उसका आंसर था सेकेंड लाइन ऑफ द पैराग्राफ में. तो सेकेंड लाइन के आगे ही तुम्हें क्वेश्चन नंबर 3 का आंसर दिखेगा, विच इज फॉर पैराग्राफ नंबर 2 अगेन. Okay, you don't
Okay.
need to look at the first line again. You will look at the third line and all the lines which follow after that.
Okay.
Understood? That's a small trick which is actually to save your time. Most of the times it works, but we never know when they might change it. Okay, so if you want to
Okay.
save your time, just look forward. हाँ नहीं मिला वहाँ पर answer, then you look at the first line, but don't get confused again, that's very important. Yeah, this is what your questions will look like. And here, when you are referring, when you are answering these kind of questions, we already know that we will proofread and cross check our answers two times. Correct? First, we will read the passage, we will look at the question, we will read the passage again, we'll try to find the answer according to the paragraph number. Once we have selected the response, once we have selected the option, we will read again and we will confirm that the option that we have selected is accurate. Then only you will move to the next question. Okay, that's how
Okay.
you make sure that you get your answer correct. As I said, don't go with something just because you feel that word has been mentioned in the passage somewhere and that is the reason it is the correct option. That's not really necessary. All the options will look similar. Of course, they will contain similar words. You need to understand the question and you will need to make sure that that question answers your, sorry, that option answers your question properly. Okay, understood?
Okay.
Yeah, your
Yes.
answers, your responses which you select, they will be bit paraphrased. So that's where you need to make sure that it is understandable from your side. Clear?
Yes,
Now
ma'am.
let's do an example passage over here. You can zoom in from your side also if you cannot see it clearly, but I feel if you're joined from laptop,
Okay.
then you shouldn't face any issue.
Done.
Okay, tell me your answer.
B, ma'am.
B.
B, B.
That's correct. Okay, very good. Now here you have one more passage. Try it quickly.
Ma'am, B.
B.
Yes.
That's correct. Very good. Okay. One more.
Yes. C.
Mhm. C.
C. C.
That's correct. Very good. Last one.
D, ma'am.
D.
D.
Correct. Very good. So you understood this, right? Very good. Moving to the next question that we have, next question type that we have, that is negative factual information question. Now, in factual information question, we looked at something which was explicitly mentioned in the passage, correct? In the paragraphs that we are being asked for. Now, in negative factual information question, we are looking for something that is not mentioned in the passage. So, your three options will have been mentioned in the passage, and one option is not mentioned, and that is your answer. Okay, and we already know that we have MCQs in this test, correct? There will be always, most of the times, four options and one correct response. Sometimes you might be asked to select two. That's where we pay attention to the instruction. Mainly in listening, you are asked to select two, so that's where you need to pay attention. And for last question, question number 10, that is a prose summary question, you will always be asked to select three correct responses, and the options will be six options over there. Okay, we'll look at that, don't get confused as of now. Now, over here we have to again identify the key facts, make sure that the paraphrasing which has been done, we understand that, and we understand something that has not been mentioned in the passage. That is what is important for over here, us over here. Okay, now here again you will need to verify your information that is being presented, whether it is true or not true, whether something is mentioned in the passage or not mentioned in the passage. Okay, first, you will, whenever you try to find the answer, you will try to locate the relevant information where it is presented in that particular paragraph. Okay, then verify that the all other three responses which you are eliminating is as not your right answer over there, which is something mentioned in the passage. You will verify that okay, it has been mentioned in the passage, so they are right answers, and the option that you are selecting, it has not been mentioned anywhere. Sometimes it might be opposite also, so that's where you will have to pay attention again. Some sets will not have any negative factual information question, some might have one or two. Okay, but you won't get more than two. Your question will always include the words not or except. Okay, that's where we pay attention. According to the passage, which of the following is not true? Or in paragraph 5, the author mentions all of the following characteristics except y. ऐसे करके the question will be there. Now again, I already told you that whenever we are doing these types of questions, you need to cross check. But in negative factual information question, you will cross check three times. You will look at the question, select the option, You will cross check your selection, and you will cross check your selection one more time, just to be 100% sure that you are doing it according to the question. Because see, this is a tricky question. Usually when we are asked
Yes.
questions, we are being asked to find out something which is mentioned in the passage. Here we are being asked to find out something which is not mentioned in the passage, so our brain keeps moving to that information which has been presented, okay, in the passage. So we have to force our brain to search for something which is not in the passage. So you have to verify 3 times and make sure that the option that you're selecting is the correct option, and you will verify all the other options also. Okay, we'll
Sure, ma'am.
spend some more time with this question. We shouldn't rush for this question type. Clear? Now over
Yes,
here
ma'am.
we have a short video which we are going to watch quickly, just to understand it better, for factual information and negative factual both. And there will be one sample passage also. We'll try to do the sample passage as well over here. Okay, just 1 second.
Hi, I'm Michael from ETS.
Is it audible?
Yes, ma'am. It was audible.
Okay.
Today on Inside the TOEFL Test, we're going inside the TOEFL IBT reading section, specifically the factual information and negative factual information questions. Factual information questions ask you to recognize information that is explicitly stated in the text. These may include facts such as major ideas, supporting details, or definitions. Negative factual information questions are similar, except that instead of only one answer being true, 3 of the 4 answers are true, and you have to determine which one is false. Factual information questions will have phrases like according to the paragraph, or paragraph X answers which of the following in the question. For negative factual information questions, look for the words not or except in capital letters. Here are some tips for answering factual and negative factual information questions. Number 1, don't automatically select an answer just because it contains words or phrases from the paragraph. Make sure you carefully evaluate each option to determine if it's correct. 2, for the negative factual information questions, remember that you're looking for an answer that either isn't in the paragraph or directly contradicts information in the paragraph. Let's look at a sample factual information question. First, here's an excerpt from a reading passage about meteorite impacts. And
Okay, try attempting the question.
Done, ma'am.
Okay, what is the right answer
B,
according to you?
B, B.
Okay.
here's the question. Be careful when selecting your answer, because 3 of the 4 answer choices misstate information from the passage or contradict information from the passage. One answer we can definitely eliminate is C, because there is no mention in this paragraph of archaeologists working in the Yucatan region. Choice A looks like what is said here in the last 2 sentences, where it does say they found the crater in 1990, but they determined in 1980 that there was a meteorite impact, so it's not choice A. Choice D is incorrect because it says that they located a meteorite, which is not true, because what they found was the crater and other evidence of the meteorite impact, not the meteorite itself. That leaves choice B, which is supported by the second and third sentences. The second sentence mentions the worldwide layer of sediment, and the third sentence explains how it is unique. Therefore, B is the correct answer. Now let's look at a negative factual information question. Here is another paragraph about meteorite impacts from the same reading passage. And here's the question. You know it's a negative factual information question because of the word except in capital letters. So 3 of the choices are going to match information in the paragraph, and only 1 will not. Let's see how many correct choices we can find by scanning for key words that appear in the answers like dust, sunlight, cold, dark, elements, crust, and nitric acid. We may also need to look for synonyms of these words. So if we scan the paragraph for some text about dust and blocked sunlight that corresponds to choice A, we find this, and it's a match. Choice B is here, where it talks about the cold and darkness. There's nothing in the paragraph that talks about new elements or the Earth's crust, so choice C looks like it might be the answer. For choice D, we found that information here, where it talks about nitric acid. So choice C is our answer. Here's a tip to help you improve your reading skills. Read news and magazine articles about various subjects as often as you can, and practice taking notes. When deciding what to write down, ask yourself, what pieces of information are important, or relevant, or credible? Then write those down, but keep the notes short. That will help you remember important information in what you read. There are lots of ways to
Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Any confusion?
improve your
No.
Okay. Let's try one question. You can try this question in the TOEFL guide. 1 second. Try this one.
B, ma'am.
B.
B.
The answer is C.
Not true.
Where did it go wrong? Just check. It's negative factual information question.
Altitude. Ma'am, but it is given altitude sickness occur in part because the atmosphere at high altitude exert less pressure, reducing the exchange of gases.
What is the question? What is the response? What is the option saying? Is the sole cause of altitude sickness?
Sorry.
Sole cause hai kya?
No, ma'am.
Yeah, so that's why I said it will sometimes
Yeah.
misrepresent the information that has been presented in the option that you're trying to select, which will be a correct response over here. It will try to put forward something which has been mentioned in the passage but in a different way.
Okay.
ठीक है? That's where we have to be careful.
Sure.
Let's try one more. Yeah, read this, then I'll show you the question.
Done, ma'am.
Okay, look at the question, look at the responses. I'll refer, like if you want to refer back to the passage, just let me know.
Ma'am, can you please refer back?
Yeah, yeah.
Done, ma'am.
Okay, which option have you selected, or do you still want to look at the options again?
D. D.
D. Are you
D. D.
100% sure?
Yeah, little bit confused.
The option is
I
C.
mean, yes, ma'am.
You're getting confused with this question type, huh? I'll share
Yeah.
some sample questions for you. Okay, you can go through and try to attempt them just to make sure that you have aced them properly, because again, this is a confusing question, but this is a very
Yes, ma'am.
important question because it comes, we know that it usually comes, and yes, we do get confused in this. Okay,
Okay.
yeah, we'll stop over here for today. We'll continue tomorrow.
Sure.
We'll meet at the same
Sure.
time. We are done with two question types. We'll follow
Yes,
from
ma'am.
vocabulary question type. If possible,
Sure.
do give it a read in the TOEFL guide. Yeah,
Sure. Sure.
chalo. Make sure you
Okay.
revise.
Sure.
Okay then, chalo.
Okay.
Bye
Okay. Bye
bye.
bye.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Have